This is Ready Set Reiki, a podcast about Reiki, the universal energy life force. From the curious beginner to the seasoned master teacher, welcoming all systems, all lineages, and all levels. Reiki is a journey and not a destination. And on this Ready Set Reiki journey, we refer to ourselves as guides rather than hosts, as we too are traveling, supporting, and learning on this Reiki journey as well. And with that said, I'm your first guide, Tracy Searight.
And I am your second guide, Millie Pampina.
And today we have a wonderful guest from where I used to live in the Murraysville area in Pennsylvania, and that is Kim Cardell Early. Now, I have a lot of information on her. So she is a Kundalini Reiki Grandmaster practitioner, an Akashic Record reader, a skilled podcaster, motivational speaker, intuitive energy healer, and she utilizes the Oracle cards. Her own shadow work and healing journey involved into a mission of support for others on their path, using her experience and intuition to hold space for healing and transformation. Welcome, Kim, to Ready, Set, Reiki.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me.
So our first question, I gave our listeners a little taste of who you are. So tell us about yourself.
Okay, well, I am a 46-year-old mother of three. I have a 21-year-old stepson. I got two bio kids that are 7, my son, and my daughter's about to be 6 at the end of December. They're 16 months apart. I did get married later in life. I got married at 37 and I had my kids at 39 and 40, which I love to tell women, listen, do not let age, hold you back from doing things. That is not, don't keep going. I'm ethnic wise because people always ask, I'm half Mexican, half Korean. So that, I did choose some interesting experiences in this life to go through. And I was also an Air Force brat. So I was born in California, moved to South Korea when I was 10 months old, lived there till I was about 4.5, then lived in Great Falls, Montana till I was about 11, came to Pittsburgh for 1 year in 6th grade, DC for middle school for 7th, 8th grade, back to Pittsburgh for high school. Then I went to Penn State. Then I went to New York, LA, trying to be a famous star, whether it was singing or acting or doing stand-up comedy. My whole life has been as an entertainer. So yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And then I ended up back in Pittsburgh because my mom invested in a business here that went boop completely sideways, came back here, met my husband. That's when I got married and then left LA to be a mom and a wife and completely shifted gears.
Wonderful, wonderful. Love that. So tell our listeners, when did Reiki come into your life with all this moving?
Oh, after a huge mental breakdown. So when I got married and had kids, after my daughter, I had suffered postpartum depression. But when I had been such a strong, fierce, independent woman for so long, I was in denial about that. I had both of my parents there helping me. I thought, I'm just tired because I'm 40. I have 2 kids that are, 16 months apart. And then it got to a point where I wasn't brushing my hair. My dad was like, Kim, you got to brush your hair. And I could feel that I was off. I had alcohol. When I was acting and singing, I was bartending. So I was drinking a lot, had a complete lifestyle that was not working for me, had addictions to, some hard stuff, got all that cleared up. So I thought, then I got married. So when I was pregnant and nursing, obviously I wasn't drinking. Well, 2 months after I said, okay, I have a problem. That was about October. My daughter was about 10 months old. At the end of January of 2019, I took a shot of vodka because I was on this gluten-free diet and they were like, drink gluten-free alcohol. So most people would go get a dress when they lost weight, but I decided I'd treat myself with some vodka. And that just flew open Pandora's box because I hadn't had hard liquor in about 4 years, 4.5 years, something like that. 3 years. I'm not good with years. I'm not good with time. So three-dimensional. But anyway, from the time I got pregnant with the first one until, the second one was about a year old. And then in about 3 months, by May 5th, I was a complete wreck and I was in rehab by May 8th. Went to rehab, got completely sober, still sober 4.5 years later. I love to say that 5/5/19 is my sober date. One of my friends from California was like, I'm in this spiritual group. You should really look at it. I think you would love it. Cause we always talked woo-woo, past lives, Capricorn this and all that. So I joined, and there was a Reiki healer on there. And I was like, and I had saw that John Hopkins and Columbia University hospital were starting to get Reiki healers. And I was like, what's this Reiki? That's how it first came into my field. And then I met an actual Reiki healer, and I was like, let me get some Reiki. What's this about? Right. Because I told her, I go, I can't seem to get rid of the pot. Like everything else I'm good with, but there's some with this marijuana, and I'm like, maybe Reiki will help me with this. So she went through, and the things that she told me, this cord attached to my father on my root chakra, my sacral chakra. She saw the abortion that I had when I was like in my 20s. She saw it attached to my sister, actually. And I was like, no, that was actually me. But just all these things. And I'm like, and it was, I had gotten tarot card readings. This blew my mind. She pulled stuff out of me that I had tucked down deep inside and was like, no, I've dealt with that, but I hadn't dealt with that. Right. So it made me go so much deeper than just the surface stuff. And then I started sending everybody to her, my mom, my employees, everybody. And then she said that she was going to start attuning people. And I was like, I'm in. I believe one of her first students, I was like, I'm in like Flynn. Where do I sign up? So I went all the way to my master level. And it was so interesting to me because people that I have, that finished the same time as me didn't utilize it. And she told me, you're attuned, you can do this. And that's all I needed to hear. And then I just did tons of Reiki. I was working my full-time job, still being, like 2-3 sessions, like 3 nights a week, until I just kept doing it and just kept doing it. And I was like, this is amazing. This is like magic. This is like, where has this been my whole life? So that's how, yeah.
Wow. What an amazing journey.
Yeah.
And congratulations on your sobriety. Well done.
Thank
well
you.
done.
Yeah.
So you have been on a journey for sure. So what is a common misperception about the work that you do?
That it's not of God, of Jesus, that it's, dark spiritual stuff. I don't get that. Like, I am so closer to Jesus now than I have ever been in my whole life. Like, I literally talk to Jesus. When I got my grand Reiki Master Attunement, my mentor was like, all right, just close your eyes, go to your heart space, and I'm going to do the rest. And I literally saw Jesus, and there's a whole story, but he like rolled his eyes at me. I joke with Jesus, all right? Like, me and Jesus are like that cool. And when I came out of my attunement, the first thing that my mentor said was, okay, Jesus and Mary are right next to you. And I was like, I don't know, because they both showed up. Well, and that's exactly who I saw. And I was like, we didn't even talk the whole time,
Right.
So that misconception that there's so much love and light in this space. It's like, it's blinding,
Right. Yeah. And it would be nice for people to see that. Yeah. They can't look beyond, oh, it's Japanese, it must be this.
Yes. Like, it's not, it's energy. And I tell people, I go, it's metaphysics. Call it science if it's going to make you feel better. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what to tell you, but it's energy. It exists. It has nothing to do with God, but it does have to do with Jesus and Buddha and all of these bodhisattvas who came down to teach us love. And we just are not getting the message. It's not our ego. Right. Our egos are like, no.
Right. I often color it for people. It's a God of your own understanding. You can make it your own.
Mm-hmm.
So as you're doing your work, your wonderful work, what do you think the biggest challenges in this industry is facing today?
Ego. I think that's with everything. And I think it's ego, and I tell everybody, watch who you work with, period. Not every priest or preacher is walking their talk. So when people say like, oh, because I'm sure you've gotten hacked. I have so many fake profiles, and people use my profile and message people, oh, I felt your energy and da-da-da. And they're like, but they knew things about me. And I had to explain, friends of mine, I was like, I can pull cards on anyone and tell you exactly where your energy is lying, and then hook, line, and sinker, right? You got to use your discernment. And I feel like and I just feel like this isn't even now, it's just been through time why people who work with energy get a bad reputation. And it's because of ego. You know, people want to be like, and it's one of the things that I put myself in check always. I'm like, you better put your ego. I do not ever step into someone's space without permission. I don't ever give them my 2 cents. Their grandma could be sitting right next to me telling me to tell them something. And I'm like, no, ma'am, they didn't ask me.
Right.
Oh, so I just feel like ego always is just such a son of a gun, you know? Darn ego, because people, and I'm a Leo rising, so I get it, I get it.
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
it. Want to be seen,
Yeah.
I get it. But I always say, I'm very mindful of what is my intention? Why am I doing this? You know?
Yeah, that's the vehicle that drives this. Too many students I've trained, they're like, well, I don't feel it in my hands. I'm not seeing this. I'm not seeing what she's seeing or he's seeing, but you're in your own experience. That's why it's spiritual, your own experience.
When you're ready, you might not be ready,
For sure.
and it's sometimes the energy is too much. So it's like you have to make sure your vibration is ready to receive,
Yeah.
and that's why ego. And I say that to myself too. Look, I'm looking at myself when I say
For
that.
sure, sure, sure. So, what is something that you wish your younger self knew about this profession?
When I read this question, I sat with it because my first response was nothing. I don't want to go back and tell my younger self, because she had to go through that darkness or she would not have understood this energy now. I wouldn't have appreciated it. I would have taken it for granted. As an Akashic Records reader, I have people dream about whatever. I have flashbacks of former lives, you know what I mean? And they'll happen when I'm awake, not when I'm sleeping. So, I'm very aware of things that I've done in my past. And I even made a TikTok about it. I was like, man, I know there was one life where I just turned everybody into frogs. You're a frog and you're a frog and you're a frog. But like the anger and the ego, and I just couldn't
Yes.
handle the magic, and I did not use it to help others. I used it to hurt. I used it to take their darkest, deepest secrets and use that to hurt them. I did not use it for good things. So that question really made me reflect. So thank you, because I was thinking about that and I was like, would I want her to know? And I was like, no, because I truly believe everything happens also when it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah.
You have to go through the fire.
Yeah. Yeah. So my answer would be, I think I'm gonna let her stay in the dark with that.
Yeah. And then when you go through this process, and it is a process, it is a journey, things
Yeah.
happen. You got to let go of some things and some people that you thought were friends and had your back. You see, okay. And that's all clearing for your highest good.
I tell people that, like, when your vibrations go higher, of course people around you are going to change. Your vibrations just don't match, And when you feel like your world is falling apart, it's not. That's your guide saying, listen, sister, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. So we're going to clean it up for you. Now you got to rebuild, like it's never, I don't say bad. I don't say good. It's life. It's experience.
Right, right.
And I love what you said too. I tell people, I was like, the second you hear me say, I'm healed, I've got it all figured out, come listen to me. Please know I've either been completely taken over by aliens or my ego got back in the driver's seat. So that is not my higher self talking, because it doesn't end.
Right. There's no there. There's
And
no
not
there.
even in this life. You could come back down. There's more. There's more.
That's why it's that journey, not a
Yeah.
destination.
Yeah.
Going along on the journey. So you shared a little bit about that first practitioner that began with you on your journey, but what are some of the qualities that you look for in a Reiki practitioner when it's time for you to get your tune-up, your Reiki tune-up?
Oh my God, awesome question. Because when I saw that too, like as a Reiki practitioner, I go every 3 months to get myself cleared from another Reiki practitioner, because I'm doing a lot of Reiki, and not only that, but to support other Reiki practitioners, keep that energy going. And then So I look for people who, the vibration, like, are they walking the talk? And, and I hate to say it, but yeah, I am being a little judgy. I'm not going to sit here and lie. And I'm feeling their vibration, to put it in a better word. I have left groups. I had 2 mentors when I first started, and I loved these women, and I was on their groups, and their groups are great. So I'm not even going to mention, that's not even the point, but they got a little catty with another woman. I don't know what it was for. I didn't care to ask or investigate. I just simply left the group. I saw that I didn't like that vibration. And instead of asking why, what's going on, I was like, oh, okay, I'm just going to dip out, and before Reiki, that wouldn't have happened. I was like, what's going on? Why are you going? Why are you guys fighting? What? Why are you not talking hard? What's going on? I didn't even need to put my 2 cents and call them out on their stuff. I just simply left. So I look to see, like, is this person real? I tell people too, like, when I say I might not be your healer, I curse like a sailor. I am loud. I am obnoxious. Some people look at me because I've had a past with drugs and alcohol, and I say that I talk to dead people. They're like, well, yeah, because and I'm like, that doesn't even bother me. And I'm like, I know what I do is real. So you thinking that of me, that's just your doubt in yourself. Like, you just don't believe in magic. So that's why you don't believe that I have magic, but I know I got magic,
Right.
So I tell people that, but there's another healer I work with, Lori, and I'm going to say her name because I love her, but she's so soft. And I'm like, maybe when I'm 70, I'll be, because I do aspire to be soft, but that's just not me. I'm loud, I'm proud. So that's why I tell people, you might not want to work with me. I'm not going to be sunshine and roses. I'll be like, listen, girl, get it together. No, I go back and forth. But yeah, so I look for people who, are they walking their talk? That's all, because not everybody does. And again, no judgment if they're not. I don't want to receive energy from that. So I'll be like, let me go see another healer. But thankfully I have a lot. So
Right.
guys, if I call you ladies for my next clearing.
Right. And I mean, our nervous system feels that energy before our mind does. So you can feel that. You can be around someone and be like, okay, yeah, this isn't for me, or this one is for me. Yes. It's wonderful. So the next question is, what advice do you have someone who is just starting in this profession?
Ooh, do not judge yourself. Don't judge yourself. When you're in this space, truly clear your mind, relax your body, and just like release your ego. Because like you said with your students, I don't see this, I don't see that, I don't feel that. That's your ego. So don't judge it. Just do what you were taught, work through the chakras. Like I said, when I first started, and this is the thing I tell people too, if you're trying to do, and there's different kinds of Reiki, right? I've had people who don't read intuitively experience one of my, Reiki and Reset events or something like that. And they're like, she didn't do Reiki. I don't know what she did, but it wasn't Reiki. And I go,
Right.
no, it was Reiki, and it's intuitive, because I'll tell them personal things, and I do tell them, I'll hold back if it's too personal, but don't judge yourself. Because work with strangers. When I first started, I did all strangers, because you know why? Your ego can't exist there. You don't know these people. Do you know what I mean? I got blessed because I became attuned in May of 2020. What happened in May of 2020? The whole world shut down. Everybody was freaking the F out. So here comes all the Reiki healers. And I was like, boom, who wants some free Reiki? That's why and everybody was like, me. So then by November, I was like, oh, my intuition just boom. So be patient with yourself, because your ego wants it. Your higher self knows that it's already there. I promise you, we are all intuitive. We are all intuitive. Not one of us came down more special than the other. It's who opens the gift, right? Sometimes you might not choose to open. It's a gift. You might not choose to open it. And then also exercise it. Exercise your third eye. It's not about being psychic. It's about trusting yourself, using discernment. So just let your ego go. Don't judge. and do lots of Reiki on strangers.
Right. Wonderful. Wonderful.
When you trust me, when you hear things and see things and then you're asking them and they validate it, that's when you learn to trust also yourself and don't
Wonderful.
ego run the show.
Right. And what's interesting is for those who told you on your path that you're not doing Reiki right because you are intuitive, if you look back in the history, Dr. Azui was intuitive and spiritual. That is the foundation. And there is information that has come out through the Gakkai that was just confirmed that when he was doing this, he was not using the symbols. That was the Gakkai and Madame Takata. So he was doing this intuitively. He was doing this spiritually. He was letting his hands guide it. So in a sense, you were doing it as homage to him. So
can I tell you a secret too? And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but I got attuned to Kundalini Reiki before Usui. I don't use symbols ever.
Okay. Yeah.
I wasn't trained to. And that's crazy. If I would have lived, one of the things that those two women said was that anybody who does, and I totally forgot about that till you mentioned that. They said, if you're not attuned to Usui first and you don't use the symbols, then you're not truly a Reiki healer. What was the first time I heard that? I was like, interesting, because I've been doing Reiki for months. And how did I know that that girl's stepdad yelled at her mom? How did I know that that guy is aggressive because of this and that happened? How have I been getting all of these messages for the last 6 months and they've all been correct and I didn't use the symbols? So essentially they were also saying that I was not a valid Reiki healer because I wasn't attuned to Usui, and I ended up taking it after. So I am attuned to it now, but because I started without using them, I don't use them. I still don't. Yeah.
Right. And there's some healers that don't. Again, that is your energetic toolbox.
Yeah.
And you use it as you need it.
Yeah. So that's why I said I got to be honest with you. I've never used the symbols in a session.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't told that I needed to. So, and that's what I said.
That's what makes you the intuitive.
Yes. That's why I was like, yeah, I didn't have a choice. I was just.
But when you look back, Azui didn't use that power on symbol.
Yeah.
And that's information that was just announced at the Sedona retreat for the International Center of Reiki with William Rand. There's a gentleman who is publishing a book. He got the notes, someone's grandfather who was a student, and he kind of he translated the Japanese, and it was in there. And it was Madame Takata who got the master symbol in 1975. Azui passed in 1926.
Yeah.
And when you look at the main teachers from Azui, when he passed, Dr. Hitachi, he was a doctor in the army. So his was this healing system. So he had hand placements. So when someone came into his clinic, say if you had bronchitis, they would open up the manual, their little guide, and it would show you where the hand placements were. So that was not intuitive at all. And then Madame Takata, that was systematic hand placements, 3 to 5 minutes. So the true intuitive was Azui.
Right.
Not that Hitachi or Takata, I don't know, could use the intuitive. But that bios and scanning, it's the same thing. It's that intuitive.
That's what I mean. Like I feel like Reiki, there's so many different modalities. And again, ego for someone to be like, that's wrong. That's right. That doesn't work because you weren't attuned to Usui. Well, I'm not saying you're wrong, but what I'm saying is that's not my perspective because I don't ever use the symbols and I've been right out here. You know what I mean?
And that's why it's your own journey, your own path. You're doing it intuitively with that. So there's no wrong way to do it. It's your intent. What is your intention for the client? What do you want to call in? And that's just a little extra tool to bring into the session if you feel needed. Yeah.
I 1000% intention. I tell that to the card readers in life, everything. What is your intention? Why do you want that job so bad? Why do you need that car? Why are you doing that? What's your intention behind that?
Right.
For
its intention, it's belief and focus. Those are the 3 to bring in.
Yeah.
All right. So, what other modalities do you offer? Tell us everything you offer.
So I do the Reiki. I do it distance and in person. But when I do the Reiki, I tell people I do open up their Akashic records, so I let them know in this session, I might pull something up from a past life that's affecting you now, and then also tarot and oracle, which I do love. I joke because I call that my side gig because my main thing is Reiki, right? But because of the intuition, that's what has made like the tarot and oracle like so fun to do. And I really do love doing all that. And then also the Akashic records. So if you want to know where your soul originated from, are you Arcturian? Are you Palladian? I can find out what are your karmic overlays. What did you bring in from other lifetimes? In the next month or so, I'm also going to be doing the Akashic wheel, which is almost like a hypnosis where we go back and it'll all be recorded, and I'm just going to guide you through, and you talk about past lives. And I've had some incredible things going through it myself. I found out a past life where my dad was my younger brother, but this was in the 70s and I was born in 77. So you think it's a past life where actually time is not linear. So
Right.
you're actually living out some other lives right now, like when I'm having a bad day, I swear to you, I'll look up and I'll be like, hello, alternate universe, Kim. I hope you're having a better day than this universe, Kim, today. You know what I mean? Because I know my soul's out there living another life in another dimension, and I really hope you're having a better day.
Right.
So all the woo-woo, I love bringing all of it. So Akashic, Reiki, tarot card readings, and then I do have weekly clients that I meet with who want to learn how to meditate, who aren't getting there, who are just really stressful, and just need that weekly. I'm not a therapist. I am an energy worker. Do you know what I mean? So I'm very clear about that. Like when we talk, I'm not, you have to figure it out. I'm just going to give you some information, and so I help clients weekly with that also. So that's been a when they walk away, because I tell people, I'm like, if you need me for a really long time, I'm not doing well. Like, what we do, we don't want people to stay with us long. You know what I mean? We want them to find their own magic and that self-love so that they can be like, no, you know what? I'm a badass. I got it.
Always growing and evolving.
Yes. Yeah. So.
All right. So with growing and evolving, do you have any books that you recommend?
Seed of the Soul, because it really does explain past lives. You know what I mean? Many lives, many masters. Because the author of Many Lives, Many Masters, for the people who really are having a hard time making that shift, this guy was a psychologist, and his books are taught as textbooks to psychology majors at Penn State. Okay, so this is a teacher. He's not, a religious person. And he talks about how he hypnotized this woman into her former lifetimes and how it was affecting her life. So I love that book because I really think it helps people kind of explain why we have past lives and reincarnation and how it's all tied together and how it affects us in our current lives. So yeah, that
Wonderful.
mainly.
Wonderful. So where can we find you? How do
Oh
we
my
get in touch with you?
all over social media. So because most of my life was, entertainment, you might be on an email list and you might get an email from me every year or so, not my forte, but if you can find me on TikTok and Instagram, I'm the Hapa, Hapa healer, because Hapa in Hawaii, that's what they call the mixed Asian kids there who are like, and I know Hawaiians called me out yet, but they say that's supposed to be for the mixed Hawaiian, but everybody thinks I'm Hawaiian anyway. But yeah, so I go by the Hapa healer. And then Aloma Healing is my healing business, and that's the Facebook page, and then also my website where you can find me to book sessions. And I do lots of like private tarot parties, which are fun, and events. So if you go to my Facebook page, I'll post, and my Instagram, that's where I'll post all the events that I'm at, because I'll be at a winery tomorrow and IUP and all kinds of places all over Pennsylvania. So
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, that ends our part of the journey. So thank you so much, Kim. I'm going to pass you over to my magnificent co-guide, Millie Pampina, who has some social media questions for you. So here we go.
Thank you. And I've got to say, Kim, Tracy, I was sorry to see that end. I was just enjoying it so much myself. So thank you so much for Kim being so honest and straightforward about your journey.
Mhm.
The fact that you're still on that journey and what you've accomplished in your life. And again, congratulations on your sobriety. I understand that that's very challenging, and I've always admired everybody who's ever had to work through that and work with it, family members and loved ones and friends alike. So thank you, and
Uh,
thank you for
I I
choosing.
won't be fake. That's
Yeah.
not gonna help anyone. I don't pretend that my days are all perfect and I'm sunshine and rainbows and that I don't have my anger moments and that I don't yell and scream. Of course I still do. Do I do it as much as I did? No. And I'm gonna give myself credit for that.
Yeah, well, you're still human, and we're
Yeah.
all still human. And
Yeah.
I always say, once you accept the reality of needing to heal and wanting to, accept the process of healing, then you got to take your blessings and graces forward to others who are also in need. And thank you. You're a perfect example of that. So I appreciate it. We have some very interesting questions for you. Honestly, this is the first time I've actually seen in all of our experiences in our journey, Tracy and I, this particular question. And it says, what should I think about during my Reiki treatment? I really love that because I'd love to hear what a grandmaster would bring to that.
Um, So with my sessions, I don't speak during the actual session, whether it's in person or online. I like to completely go into the higher dimensions, talk to their higher selves, talk to their guides, talk to whatever ascended masters show up. So I don't like to speak because then that brings me back down to the third dimension. So what I tell people, I give them an exercise about picturing a crystalline tube as they're breathing to just connect themselves to that light, to Mother Earth and Father Sky. And again, like what I say, even as a practitioner, let your ego go. Just lie down. And because I don't speak, I will play music. And I tell them, just let your thoughts flow. Don't judge. Whatever you think, you're supposed to think that. And then I ask them after the session, what came up, and they'll be like, my grandma came through, or da da da, or some people will be like, I just couldn't relax, so that takes time. But I would say just let it, don't it's hard to say don't think about it, but whatever just comes, like, don't think about anything, just let whatever is going to come.
So I can't wait to get on your table myself. So we're so being as you are in the Pittsburgh regional
Yeah.
area, so
Yes. Yes.
I love to meet people locally. So I have heard that Reiki can be sent to others at a distance. How does that work? That's a good question. That's a fair question. So
Yes. And that's a great question for me because, like I said, during COVID, all of my first clients, other than my husband, were all distant. I didn't do any in-person Reiki other than my husband. You know what I mean? And I had to like beg him to let me do it. I'm like, please let me do this thing to you. And he was like, no. So with distance, it's all energy. So what I do in particular, I have like my table is right here. Let me see if I can kind of put it down. So I got my little table here. And I actually, the way I work is I set up crystals for each chakra. So the throat chakra, the crown chakra. And then I use these are my believers. This is how I measure. I hold it over the chakra. And depending on the way it spins, I'll know it's underactive, overactive, if it's balanced. And then what I do is I'll put my hands over each chakra. And then that's when I get my intuitive messages. So when it's in person, what I do is just put my hands over the chakra. But when it's distance, I'll put it over the crystal that's representing each chakra.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And you called your pendulum your believers.
My believers. Yes, my believers.
How did, and that's a beautiful piece.
Oh, I got a whole collection. And then depending also on which chakra needs the most work. You know what I mean? I'll like, so that's not even half of them. So I have them all because they're on their charging plates right now. I have charging plates that I put them on to clear them after session. So, you know, if somebody needs some deep throat chakra clearing, we do that. If they need to work on their root chakra, this one is really good for the root chakra. So, and then I get them all lined up.
Thank you for sharing, because so many people have that question as well, as, you know, how do I set up? What do I put on my altar? What do I do with these
Yeah.
things? And I always tell people it's very intuitive. You know, what brings you, all the churches, and the Catholic Church especially, because as I was very involved for many, many, many years, still involved in the church, we called them sacramentals, whatever brought you to that state that were in that, mindfulness of the moment and receiving. That's how you have to organize yourself. And you know what? You might do it different every time.
Yes.
So,
I
yeah.
definitely changed the way when I first started, it had to be completely dark. I had to have three candles lit. I had to have my incense. I mean, I had this whole, now I'm like, all right, I got 3 sessions tonight. And not that I rushed through it. Do you know what I mean? But I really like, because I trust myself now more too. You know what I mean? So if I don't skip a step, I'm like, oh my God, it didn't work. It's like you said, Tracy, intention too. You know, it's what's my intention? I'm here to do love and light. So that's why I say I took wrong and right out of my vocabulary, because that's ego. Who am I to say that's wrong? How do
Yeah.
I know? Did, like, people say I don't use the symbols? That's not Reiki. Who said it's been working for 3.5 years? You can't tell me I'm wrong. You know what I mean? I've been doing it this way. So I don't, when I see somebody doing something that I'm like, oh, interesting. Like you said, growing you. Oh, show me how you did that. Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay. Yeah.
It resonates with you. I know that I really enjoy changing things up. I go to Tracy's classes. I go to the class, I get the certification, then she's teaching, and I go to the same class with her, because I love to see her approach with it. And she's in a very different environment than I'm at, in, being out in El Paso, and I'm here in Pittsburgh. And I just, if I like, I incorporate. If I don't completely understand, I go to class again. It just, you just kind of roll with what brings you to that point. And I love it. I love it. Yeah. Yeah. Some days I'm running around with sage, and other days I'm running around with spray bottle. I a lot of it highly depends on availability, and everybody's getting the same intention, the
Yeah.
same clearing, the same process. It's
Yeah.
just, it might be accomplished in a
Yeah.
little different manner that day. So, but I want to make sure everybody is getting what they need. And some days I'm just here spraying the Reiki rascals and telling them, start running around the house and doing your thing," because they're both attuned. So I love it. So, and again, I really enjoyed this last question quite a bit. And I think, I don't know that this will be a challenge for someone to answer, but it's, how can I use Reiki to help in a global crisis? So what would be your thoughts on that?
That's exactly what happened to me during the pandemic, right? You want to talk about ego? One of the mistakes that I made, because I had just been through rehab and hell, I had hit my 1-year sobriety at the point that the world was shutting down. I was not in a space to go backwards into fear. I was like, F that noise. So I was like, screw that noise, because I could not live in fear. So my spiritual ego was like, why are you scared? Why are you? And people were dying. And I was like, you're freaking out. Calm down. I was not being empathetic to people who were scared, because of where I was sitting at that 1-year mark of being sober. I just was not in a vibration of fear. So it helped me see my ego, but Reiki helped me. Okay, what can I do to help the ones that are scared? So it completely shifted my perspective, and it was an ego check. My guides were like, wow, so you really just did all that work and came to that healing, and now you're going to be a bitch about it? Like, why don't you use it to help other people kind of shift it to where you shifted? And you telling them not to be scared was like how people kept telling you to just not drink. Just don't drink, Kim. Just think about your kids before you, like, think about that. And it really was like, oh my God, you're right. Okay. So when there's fear and you can see fear in others and you are sitting in a vibration of love, send that love out to others. You know, what I learned through my grand Reiki Master attunement is don't feel sorry for people, right? That's the vibration that, oh my God, I feel so sorry for them. Oh my God, they're so sick. That's the vibration you're sending them. Okay. So when there's a pandemic or there's a lot of fear going around, the best thing you can do is, number one, keep yourself in a safe space. Keep yourself in a vibration of love. Make sure you don't let fear come into your heart so that you can use that, because Reiki is love. I say Reiki is love, you know, use that energy and just send love. I'm sending peace and love and, you know, less anxiety and calm, and send that energy out to others. When you see somebody who's just lost a husband or a family member or a parent or a child, God forbid, like, you know, and they're sitting in that space of just so much loss and devastation, don't be like, oh my God, I feel so sorry. I can't even imagine what it's like. Send Reiki, which is send them love. You're going to heal. Your loved one is in such a good space. You're going to grow from this. You are going to be so strong. And these are things that, don't say this to them, right? Because they don't want to hear this right now. So the best thing that you can do is send them that love. Don't send them vibrations of, I feel sorry. Don't send them pity. Send them love. Oh, you're going to come out of this and be so strong. Oh my goodness. Like, there's going to be love around you, and just see and send to them like the beauty that's going to come from them. I feel like that's the best thing that you can do for people is with Reiki, just send love, good thoughts, you know, cover them in protection, send them strength, you know, things like that.
You could see I'm taking that very well here. I'm getting emotional. So but thank you. I do really appreciate those words. And with that, that's, you know, that's the last question I have from the social media. Do you have anything else you'd like to bring into the conversation?
You know, you ladies are amazing guides, because the questions like were so like full circle and everything. Yeah. I just, you know, of course, with like Reiki, we could talk here all day, every day. Like, let's talk about the chakras. But yeah, just that without Reiki, and I gotta be honest, and I'm speaking to anybody who is really, you know, chronic depression, alcoholism, you know, any kind of thing like that. I do have to say, try Reiki. Just give it a, you know, be open-minded about it, open up your heart and try it, because as much as AA and rehab helped me start my journey, I am 1000% telling you I would not still be sober if it were not for Reiki. If I would not have brought Reiki into my life and I would have just continued to go to AA and I would have just continued to go to these meetings, I promise you I would not be sober right now. I still had anger. I still have anger. Correct that, Kim. I still have resentments. I still have trauma. I still have things that I'm working through that will cause me to want to drink. So without Reiki, without that the open consciousness, the awareness, the awakeness of that I have, because what you said too, Millie, about, you know, in AA, first you have to admit there's a problem. You first have to admit I am an alcoholic. So with spiritual healing, you first have to admit I need some spiritual healing. It's me, I'm the problem, it's me. I'm not a Taylor Swift fan, but I love that song. I sing that line every time. I'm like, it's me, I'm the problem, it's me, you know, and it truly is. So for those of you who have tried, like, I've had therapists since I was 21. I just had my last therapist who put me on my cuckoo drugs, you know. Let me not say that, guys. I'm so sorry, because there are people who are on Zoloft. It was beneficial to me. I was put on Zoloft. But again, it didn't do anything because there was too much. There was too much that little pill could not fix. You know what I mean? I had to dig deeper. So the Reiki, truly and honestly, that is what has kept me sober. That is what has pulled out the weeds that kept coming up every year and would not let my flowers bloom because the weeds just kept taking over. So I was watering and I was throwing fertilizer, trying to do all these things. But what I didn't do was pull the weeds. I did not pull the weeds out. Reiki got me to pull the weeds out. Reiki has kept me sober. It has kept me accountable. It has put my ego in check. It has saved my marriage because there have been times where I thought my husband was the problem, but it was me. I'm the problem. It's me. So, just Reiki has truly saved my life. It changed my life. It's what I do now. I thought I was going to be stuck at my mom's hair store for the rest of my life, but such a beautiful space. And if you've never tried it and you've been curious, do it. This is your sign to not hesitate.
No, I love it. I loved your reference to Zoloft because I use Zoloft, but I look like the rainbow when I would start in the morning. And my long time, support in medicine management, my therapist, he loves it because, I was, I'm a little older. I knew better than to just say, this is it. So with the combination of Reiki and all the other modalities and meeting beautiful souls like Tracy and people who have been there and done that and just had to reach out or to heal inwardly. I honestly find that I'm in the same position. I'm not the person I was 5 years ago. I'm, in fact, sometimes to the point where my kids will say, Mom, just say something. And I'm like, nah, no. You're adults. Take it, go with it. See you around the corner. And I just
Around the corner.
yeah. I laugh because, little by little, I'm getting to that point where I'm going to be free of all those and just dependent on, what I'm doing internally and it just helps so much. So thank you again for sharing all this. I am going to be the one that downloads and downloads and downloads and plays this interview several times. Keep being yourself. You're genuine, you're honest, and honestly, more people need a smack in the forehead than they really need a pat on the back sometimes. It just has to hit you right here. And if it doesn't hit you right here, then you got to wait till it hits you right there because
There's so many of us that don't wake up, and that's why we have more than one life.
Mhm.
You know, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Don't, and that's why I said that. I was like, let me correct myself because there's no shame in having to take those things. Like, please, and I say I'd be lying if I didn't enjoy the benefits of Western medicine still. If my arm is cut and bleeding, you damn straight I'm going to the ER. I'm not gonna sit there try to Reiki that. Like, I need a cast, I need some stitches. Like, help me out, like, let's not be ignorant, So yeah. Yeah, no shame, no shame. Yeah.
That's what I always say. Thank you, God, for pharmacies and doctors and hospitals.
Yeah, I mean,
Because you can't. If honestly, if I had a cut and I could Reiki it and watch it close up and the scar go away, I'd be right there. But the truth of the matter is as practitioners, and this is why we love to ask that question. What's the misperception? What are the perceptions about what you do? Because people just think that, we don't advocate Western medicine. That's absolutely not the case.
Yeah,
So,
that's
if you need Western medicine, you need to get Western medicine. You need that help. You need that step to, if your body isn't healing the way it needs to be healing, that's why in my opinion God put those other healers on earth because they really, this is in addition to, this is going to help get you there. This is, what we want you to take to help yourself, but we can't heal you.
Those are all signals. This
Mhm.
is telling you your crown chakra needs some help. You know,
Mhm.
your chest pains, your heart needs some help. You know, my kidney stones, my sacral needed some help. It still does. You know what I mean? That's why I got orange and red hair now. We're working on those lower chakras, trying to balance them out. But
I wonder what my gray and blonde mean.
oh, and the thing too, the misconception, I stopped calling myself a healer. I'm not a Reiki healer. I'm a Reiki practitioner. All
Yes.
right, let's get that straight because I am not here to heal you. I don't see you as broken. I see you going through your life experiences because that's what you chose to go through. You signed that contract. I didn't. I'm not here to heal you. I'm going to give you some intuitive information coming from your guides. This is what they're saying. Let's work through that.
Yeah.
You know, and then what you do, I can't shift you. And I've told my mom that. I've been watching my mom get sicker and sicker and sicker the last 5 years. And I'm like, keep telling you to move.
Yeah.
I cannot heal you. Your mind, your words, your actions, I can't change any of that. So I'm a practitioner of Reiki. I am not a healer. I'm not here to heal you. I can't, you know? So yeah.
Agreed. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, I could probably sit here all day. I know I can sit and listen to Tracy, and Tracy's one of the few people I really enjoy all the time talking to about these types of things. And because we both live in a very no judgment zone. We talk about various things, and then we always come up with some people just is the way the universe is, and we move on to the next. Usually our kids or our dogs or
That is the hardest part of being a human. The hardest part is being a mom. I said it yesterday. I had a little bit of a breakdown. I said to my mom, I go, why do we choose this? Why do we choose to be parents? Like, I know they're healing so much of my inner child within me, but man, watching them go through emotions and then trying to discern. And that's why I've told people too, I'm intuitive, but when it comes to my kids, black. I don't see nothing. I don't know who's telling the truth. I don't know who's lying. I don't. It's like, and I'm getting better. I am getting better, but yeah, because your heart chakra, it's your kids. Like,
Yeah.
ooh,
I think that's the universe challenging your ego. So it just is. I've had people tell me, "Oh, I was, I worked with people, I worked with children all my entire career. I know kids." I said, "Really? I'm going to ship mine right over. You give me a feedback as to what you figure out because I don't." They're
and I
coming.
can get ego because you can't. How can you know every child? That's the thing that people make. You know, okay, you've been around a lot of kids. I don't know. It's like everybody's different, so you can't box them. You know.
Well, Kim, thank you so much. I really, really appreciated your time today. I'm kind of gonna see Reiki Rascal's ready to go here. So he's
Um,
so we're as we close every session, I like to give people this bit of my tagline, which is to see beauty in everything is a choice. Please choose wisely. And thank you again. Thank you, Tracy. And I will turn this back over to my co-guide, Tracy Searight.
Thank you, Kim, for joining us for this Ready Set Reiki interview. Very enjoyable. Learned a lot from it. So thank you for sharing your journey with us.
Thank you so much for having me. Truly, thank you.
Wonderful. So, our listeners, you can find us online. If you have questions for any of our guests, check us out at www.readysetreiki.com. We have all kinds of events coming up, and we have a new platform, Feather Sister Wellness, that is launching, that you can find all of our trainings, all of our sessions, classes. We're offering yoga, Reiki, meditations. It's going to be facilitators of the healing arts. So check that out. So I am your other co-guide, Tracy Searight, and this has been Ready Set Reiki.